The hardest thing is like all the optics out there. I like the defenders because it's just damn good value. You cannot deny how good a value those defenders are for the money. And if you get one that's just flawless, it's going to be a tank. It's going to work really well. But I mean, I just keep coming back to the rugged old Trijicon SROs because they just work. That's actually, you know what? That's actually something that needs to happen. Trijicon with their MRO, they need a 5 MOA or a 6 MOA. Like me, I don't know why they went with a 3. I mean, they're saying, "Oh, this is a competition centric thing." Okay, well then give us a decent sized dot on this stupid thing.
I what they need to have is some sort of um, competitive priced option. That's so
Yeah,
you're seeing two
yeah.
things. I mean, we kind of have a question about this. Maybe we'll answer this later, but you're definitely seeing the market touch two different points on the price
Hmm.
spectrum. Probably not something in the middle. Anyways, welcome to the PARAcast. I'm your host, Amos the Boss Fernandez. Joining me tonight, you call them icy steps. He calls them pay dirt. It's Robert Wyatt.
I got nothing. I
the
got nothing.
the only LDS missionary to win two slip and fall lawsuits. That's the way that's the way it would go. So on the Patreon side, we were talking about the new Holosuns, but I was sitting there this week. Been pretty busy. Went out there, and I think I might have brought this up last week that I cannot get that ammunition to group. So I'm pulling open the old Hodgdon loading manual on the iPhone, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, okay, like what can I do to make this stuff work? And that's been kind of the theme for the week, going through everything, which has been got to find some low data to make this stuff work. So we're
Hmm.
going to be attempting that tomorrow and trying to figure out something going to the indoor range and trying to group it.
You're still using the tight group? Or are you going to try a different powder,
I
or
don't
is everything on the table
I
at this
think I
point?
have like I don't know what other powder I have, like an N, is it 232 or something like that, 230 something. I have something like that. I have a little bit of sports pistol, but I don't have much else besides tight group. And I don't really think I need anything else for a 115 grain plated bullet besides tight group. I
I
should be
know
able to
it's
find
just
something
100.
that
I
work.
mean, tight group just works so well with heavier bullets. It just does. I mean, if you can find something that's got a slower burn, I mean, heck, even unique probably. Oh, no, unique stuff. It's just too dirty.
Well, I don't mind the dirtiness of it. It's the availability and the expense. Like I remember powder used to be not being the huge expense that it's turned out to be, but
I
I
know.
want to, like, I got cheap bullets. I have this powder. I want to shoot this powder, and then if I go on to something else, like definitely, I will probably say I am off the 115 grain bullet train, no matter how great the price is. Especially when I sit there and from kneeling, like we talked about me getting the bodyguard right on the show. We already talked
Oh
about,
yeah.
yeah, okay, that's right, we did it last episode. So we shot it. I don't know if we talked about that. It was
Hmm.
it was fantastic. Shot to the sights. We went out Tuesday. Shot to the sights. Loaded, no malfunctions. Like very very soft shooting pistol. Like I've as far as my customer sample of one, like we're very very happy with that, and so it was great. But we went out there, grouped the ammunition. The ammunition I loaded a little bit hotter, a little bit shorter. Turned out to shoot like an 18-inch, 20-inch group at 20 yards. So, and even I saw one of a tumbling bullet. So I loaded up the Beretta with 147 grain XTPs that I loaded a couple years ago,
Yeah.
and this 92 with the adjustable sights. Sat on the rest, shot it, put 3 rounds touching in the X ring at 25 yards. So like the gun is performing the way I would like to. The ammunition is still something we have to figure out, but the 380 was fantastic. So anyways, so this week I'm like, all right, well, I'll just get some stuff done, and I have this YHM turbo can, and I have these old kind of ratcheting system mounts. They're QD mounts, and they're not known for being they're pretty large. They're pretty large mounts, and also like sometimes they don't attach completely locked in. with the suppressor, and so what ends up happening, you can have some accuracy degradation, and sometimes you might get a baffle strike, but you kind of have to like figure out which muzzle
That's
brake. It's much like well, let me explain this. I go to dead air. Like dead air is on my route, my package car route at UPS,
hmm
and I go there every day. And every day there's about 12 RMAs that come back to dead air every day. And with talking with the guys there, the mounts that come back, the suppressors that come back, come off of their chemo system, which is their thread on but ratchet system at the end. And this
okay.
this seems to be the problem with basically every ratcheting system from the Surefire to the the dead air brakes, the Yankee Hill machines. And so they went to their what they call their Zemo mount, which is basically a large taper thread, and YHM has their SRX mounts, which is the same thing, which is you have a shoulder here and then just tapered threads, and then it's a pistol can, so you just thread it on, and it goes on
hmm
solid, fantastic, zero movement, all that jazz. And so I was like, all right, well, Alex has a couple of these, and I decided, well, I'll grab one. And so
Yeah, yeah.
I grab a short mount, like the short flash hider, and I grab a longer flash hider. And getting the flash hiders off the original guns wasn't too big. I had to boil one with Roxette. This LWRC one came right off. Changing the hub on the suppressor turned out to be a war which I was not prepared to fight. I thought I was going to take
Hang
that.
on a second.
Okay.
You mentioned what is a hub? I don't understand that.
So, well, now let's see if I.
Oh,
Well, this is
geez, you just carbon locked it on again.
no, I didn't carbon lock it on. I have to thread it on a little bit tighter. Okay, so on a lot of these rifle suppressors, they have a threaded opening right here, and this is so that you can change the attachments on the attachment style, how they're going to fit into the rifle. So
hmm
you would have, let's say you have one of the quick detach ratcheting systems. Well, you would have a hub inside of the suppressor that would allow it to mate with that muzzle device.
Okay.
And so, like when you change systems on how to mount them to the rifle, you have to change out the inner system inside the suppressor. So if I said, oh, you know what, I just want to direct mount this to one can, I would thread in a direct mount, and then thread that onto the rifle. And so it's a bunch of different ways. So here's how the hub goes in. It just threads into the suppressor, and then you use 2 spanner wrenches to kind of tighten it. One spanner wrench on the suppressor, one spanner wrench on the locking nut of the hub, and then you're going to squeeze them in and torque them down. So then you have a system that you can change out, and they're pretty much universal and compatible with everybody. Makes something for everybody else. I can use a dead air hub mounting system in a YHM can. I can use a YHM can over here. Most warranties won't work if you damage something while kind of using 2 different companies' stuff, but for the most part, it's all pretty much foolproof now. So,
Okay.
but separating that hub out of that suppressor turned out to be a freaking war, because somehow, even though I hadn't shot it that much, this had kind of gotten carbon locked on. And so I take my 2 wrenches, I'm trying to pull it apart. The heads of the 2 wrenches snap off. And so then I go to Lowe's, and then I get some like spanner wrenches that are made out of steel. Still try to go to war with it. Can't get it off. Alex comes over. He brings a blowtorch the thing. Can't get it off. And then
Wow.
like I'm just sitting here like, all right. And so like I'm like, I have some suppressor cleaner solution in a Amazon cart, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm just gonna have to order this, soak this thing, and then probably get it to break loose. But since I boiled one of the thread protectors off, I was like, well, what's the chance that I use some Roxette on this thing 3 years ago when I got it? And so then I just decided, okay, well, like we're already boiling a muzzle brake. Let's just boil this and see what happens. So I boil it, and the suppressor, the mount off the other rifle comes right off. This doesn't come off. I was like, all right, well, I'll boil it for 5 minutes and call it good. So I boil it for another 5 minutes. I take it out. It's piping hot, and I put the wrenches on it, and then I'm moving. Nothing happens, and then my wrench slips off. And then as it slips off, I can tell that the orientation of the nut is different from where it started on the suppressor. And so then I'm like,
Mhm.
it moved. And then like I got it like halfway out, and then it got stuck again. But then eventually it got out, and like my hands are just chewed up from messing
W-
with these sharp
yeah.
edges. Like that was like I had like, you know, leather workman's gloves on, and like I got gouges in my hands. My hands hurt from doing it. It's pinched me. It's cut me. I'm pretty much done with it. But it it now works on a rifle, and so now I can put my suppressor can on two different rifles, and I'm not going to have much zero shift or problems there. So, am I happy? Not really. This was a $210 adventure that basically got me a little bit more than what I had. So, huh. But
The hard thing about like the suppress like when that happens, I had it happen once on my spec war, and I you just you sit there and you're like, this thing shouldn't be happening. And like I took it up. I actually was at the range at the armory when I did it, and I took it up, and Casey is there, and he's like, yeah, just go, just unthread it, or like take the lock off, and then just shoot it. You can shoot it out.
yeah.
And I'm like, in my brain, I'm like, that just seems like a bad
Yeah,
idea.
like carbon lock from the suppressor can to the mount on the rifle. It's like there's lots of ways to get that. They're big pieces. You have leverage. You can do something like that. When it's the hub to the can,
Yeah.
that is just literally on the locking nut on the suppressor. You have to use a spanner wrench. Like
Hmm.
how many spanner wrenches do you have? Do you have how many inch spanner wrenches do you have? It's like you have the ones that came with your suppressor.
Well, that's funny you mentioned that because forever ago, Evan Woolley and I and Lex at the time, we all got Form Ones. We decided, hey, we're gonna make a suppressor. We're gonna do this. It'll be fun. And so we did got the Form One and everything like that, and we started building this thing. Got it all built. It was great. Took the thing out to go and shoot it. We shot it, worked just fine. I took it home. I'm like, oh, I'm going to clean this thing. And it had two end caps, and I go to unlock it, and it's like, no.
Yep.
And I'm like, this is not good. And so I got like a big set of channel locks. No, it doesn't do anything. Finally, I had to go to the store. I bought a spanner wrench, but I didn't have the dent to put
Yeah.
the spanner wrench into. And so I'm sitting at my house. It was like 11 o'clock at night with my drill press, like drilling in a dent so that I can put the nipple of the spanner wrench into it. And I'm just like, this effing sucks.
Yeah, like it's not as fun as it's not as like I got them in the mail on Friday night and I was like, all right, well, first thing in the morning we're gonna pop these bad boys in, and then like literally I'm like, oh, this sucks. Like I
Uh
can't
huh.
do this right now. Like this is a terrible idea. Anyway, so I get that done, and the original project this weekend was to take this Beretta and then bevel out the magwell. Like this is a Beretta
Yeah.
92 FS Brigadier. These older kind of Berettas did not have beveled
It's
magwells.
the star grips on it.
Yeah, the stars that you're.
It's
So
it, it's funny, like when you point it at the camera, when you can actually see it in the camera, everything else is black, but the beautiful star logo comes right through, and I'm like, yeah, that's
yeah,
cool.
so this Brigadier, I've had it talked about it on the show a few times. Like this is now an officially finished product ready for production. Like it's zeroed. It's got the LPAs on it. It's got the Dawson front sight. The barrel's accurate. It's got the spring kit. It's got the trigger job. It's got my stainless trigger. It's got good lock stars Beretta grips. And now I have a beveled magwell. I have magazines. I have floor plates. I have holsters. I have everything for this gun except for ammunition that will work. So I'm super excited about this. So I finished beveling this, and then I'm like, all right, well, I go make some tilapia, make some fish for everybody and go eat some fish. And then I head to the bathroom and I start scrolling. And what do I see? I Earlier this week, I saw Langdon Tactical putting out stuff about Berettas and Beretta Elites. And I'm like, I love Berettas and especially Beretta Elites. Never got to
Hmm.
own one before. And then I see today, after I bevel this magazine well, the Beretta LTT Elite 2, the new Beretta Elite. And
Wait,
so,
what?
yeah, there's a new
What do
Beretta.
you say?
Yeah, there's a new Beretta Elite 2. Yeah, you can check
Oh,
it out.
hell
It's
yeah.
on Langdon's website. It is a
And I may have just run into a certain amount of money.
well, buy me one. Um, so the interesting thing about the Elite 2 is um, it's got different serrations on the front of the gun, different serrations on the right. It comes from the Beretta factory with the LTT cut, which is pretty interesting because the relationship between Beretta and LTT is you guys make the guns at Beretta, and then we are the ones that put the cuts on them. So like their
Hmm.
LTT Beretta doesn't come with the cut. Their PX4 GSD doesn't come with any sort of cut from the factory. And the hopes is that you buy those guns and then have Langdon customize them. And so, but this one will ship from the factory with the Langdon cut, and it's a good looking Beretta. It has different serrations on the slide. It's a Vertec frame with the kind of the 92X. Essentially, it's a 92X with a stainless barrel, a Langdon cut, and all that jazz on it. I actually tried to buy a 92X last week, and they no longer make that SKU. So now you have the Langdon, LTT Elite 2, and it looks like a
Oh,
pretty sweet little
damn,
pistol.
that looks like a good gun.
Yeah, it looks like a very nice feature rich Beretta 92. So, hooray.
The funny thing is it has the forward cocking serrations on it. Oh man, it's only like $1,400. That's not bad.
Yeah, I would say that there's probably street price on that gun is going to be probably 1,300. It seems like it's a different competitor inside the 92X defense. I mean the performance category. So it'll come someplace under the 92X performance in price, which is like 15. These will probably ship on the street for 1,100 if they're straight from Beretta. If you take them through Langdon, they're going to be considerably more with the trigger jobs and all that jazz. But
Yeah, Langdon is charging. Let's see, 1374 with the Langdon trigger job with OP trigger bar, the inox slide.
yep. Yeah,
So
it's not a terrible price for the gun. And so if it has all the features on it that it's supposed to have and a nice stainless barrel, like that's going to be a fun little pistol. It, it's
yeah,
it's it's interesting to see them ship with the Vertec grip, the flat mainspring grip, and then have the panels over it, the grip panels. Not that big of a deal now because they do a good job with those grip panels mimicking the original like frame contours. Um,
yeah. The grip panel is nice. I've got that on my 9A4, and it works. It works really well. I'll be honest with you. I still think the 92 frame is still. I just think it's the best. I've tried the thinner one. I don't particularly like it, but the grip panels do actually make it quite functional.
yeah, and then like people with lock, they make excellent 92X style grips for the Vertec type grip panel
Yeah.
that wraps around and makes it even bigger than the standard 92s or has more checkering. So it does give you a lot of options. But like I was pretty
Yes.
excited. I was pretty excited to see that. It's like, oh, a new elite. So
Yeah.
every 10 years a new elite, sometimes even 20.
The interesting thing though is that they're using Langdon's cut,
Yeah,
and I mean, uh, it. I don't know if that's just Beretta acknowledging that their solution. Honestly, it just sucked. It wasn't a good solution. Langdon really kind of did it right, but
I
I'm
think
glad that I'm glad they're doing it. But I don't know why Beretta. They probably got into a pissing match or something like that. But I I mean, I think the Langdon cut is objectively the correct way to go.
the Langdon cut is the better cut than the Beretta factory cut. The Beretta factory
Right.
cut does not allow for a whole lot. It has very high plates, and there's other plating solutions like I think it's like the Dolly and of course the Tony Systems plates. Um, but you're still dealing with a gun that literally, if you look at the silhouette of this Beretta that I have on screen, like over the bore, there's almost nothing on top of the gun, and then on the other side, there's nothing at top, like close to the extractor. Like the extractor is
Right.
so close to the top. Um, so there's not a ton they could do. Definitely, the Langdon system is the best. Should a redesign of the 92 probably happen that would allow us to have a better system? Yeah, but I think the Beretta system is a great system for people who are looking to have a gun and shoot at iron sights and then an optic. The Langdon cut is not for anybody who's going to try to shoot any one of those guns iron sights at all. Like it is a optic
Correct.
solution from that point on. Like if you optics cut a P30 or a Beretta or a PX4, you are essentially assigning that gun a dot for the rest of its existence.
That's correct.
So
But I mean, as I'm kind of like coming to the realization this week, I think the dot is. I think that's just going to be the future of everything. Because I mean, I did that. I finally found the sites for that P07 and installed them and everything like that. And I just I'm actually going to call up Dawson and ask him about this thing. But um, I hate the fact that I'm actually starting to get to a place where I'm like my eyes are now struggling to if the lighting's not good, like if I'm not outside, it is noticeably getting more of a challenge to actually get that front sight in focus, and I really hate that that's becoming a thing.
the lighting on the inside, especially in indoor ranges, is not very kind to iron sights. Like
That's correct.
you that is hard one. But actually, when you spend a lot of time behind the dot and then try to go back to iron sights and see what you need to see with them, it is difficult. And like going from dot to iron sights for the first time is pretty good, difficult. Paige kind of had that situation. We went out to the range and she's been shooting this VP9 with an enclosed dot and a streamlight on it, and a pretty decent trigger. And then she goes to the iron sights, and we were kind of having the conversation of like, that she's like, closing one eye, opening one eye, closing one eye, having both eyes open, and it's just like you just leave both eyes open. She's like, well, one says it's aligned and the other one says it's not aligned. And it's just like, correct. 50% confirmation is 100% certainty. So that's like, you just got to stay with the one and stay and keep with it, and then just try to do your best to shoot both eyes open while focusing at the
No,
target. Like,
dude, just tell her to close an eye. There's nothing wrong with it at all. There's not one thing wrong with closing an eye.
I there's nothing. What would you say? There's nothing wrong
I
with
mean,
closing one eye, but shooting with both eyes open is better.
well,
And
BJ Norris seemed to kick the stuffing out of a whole lot of people, and he closed an eye. I mean, he's a pretty legitimately good dude, and he closes an eye, and it's like if the difference between Paige walking away and feeling successful and keeping two eyes open, if she closes an eye and she's successful, then do the thing that's successful until it becomes a problem, and then change it out. I fought with Andrea over this for like the longest time.
yep,
And eventually she's like, "Do you want me to come out and actually shoot with you?" "Yes." "Then leave me alone." And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, you're right." She's right.
yep.
But I mean,
I
it she could just get a sight. That's how she got her sight, because she's cross-eye dominant, and she just fought it so much. And she's like, if I just close my eye, it works.
we
I can't argue with that.
we got success with it with the both eyes open. It was just
Yeah.
a matter of like you forget how weird it is to kind of teach it or explain it as it's happening when you're doing it, which is like,
Yeah.
oh, what are you doing? Well, I'm looking at a target and then I'm aligning this front post even with the back of this rear notch, but I'm trying to keep it fuzzy in my eyes while still looking at the target, and I'm looking with both eyes open, except for I'm having some images and I've done it for years, so my brain can automatically sort out that image, but you're new, so your brain doesn't automatically sort out that image as much.
Right.
And therefore, like, these are all the things that you do, and it's just like, what's step one? First, bring up the sights and make sure they're in alignment, and then like change focus to the front side or change focus down to the target, and then just try to have it go there, and then like watch it try to reset and recoil while, and then like the whole time the vision's trying to shift focus between
Hmm.
front sight, align it, target. It's just it's a lot easier life now.
Yeah, I mean, like I know Steger's been talking about how at this point he's basically he's just target focusing even with an iron sighted gun. And if I can tell you if you can bring that iron sight gun up like consistently every single time under pressure and have the rear notch and the front notch in that same plane. Yeah, I mean target focus is going to be great because you'll have the bouncing fiber optic that's sitting there and it's going to make it super easy. Um, but I mean, in the case of Andrea, she closed an eye. I keep both eyes open and I look at it. But I don't know. I gotta call up Dawson in the case of mine just because I mean that thing was 4 inches low at 10 yards, and that's just crazy train.
Yeah, and that's are you shooting the factory rear sight on it?
I haven't gone back since. It was the Dawson rear, the Dawson front, and I've got the where is it? I got the paperwork still right here, but it's CZ rear fix PO9 black PO7 PO9 205 two up tie 205 tall on the rear, and the front is 155.
Yeah, it was. So this was bought in the set.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, the
I
whole
I have never shot a Dawson Precision set of sights like the ones that they ship together, and then you have to use the perfect impact guarantee
yeah.
to get them kind of on point. I have never shot one of those and been like, well, that's perfect from the factory. Thank goodness. Like it's always
Yeah.
been like three, what would you say, 300ths of an inch off. Like there's always
Hmm.
been something with it where I've always had to adjust it and then come back and set a new front sight on the gun.
Yeah, and then, I mean, this case, I mean, like the factory sites on this PO7, they're bang on. They were perfect. Like I didn't have
Yeah.
any problems with them, but I had gotten these a long time ago, and like I always do, I put them in a box and I promptly lost them. And it was only just through kind of cleaning out my basement and doing the whole New Year, new me kind of stuff that I found. I'm like, this is cool. I like them. I mean, I like the fiber sight, so I threw them on there went him out and I shot him and I'm like, that's low. And so put some I put some factory ammo in and I shot it again and I'm like, yeah, that's definitely low. And so then I happen to have 124 and 147 and they're all definitely low. And so in talking to you about it, it's like, oh, that at 10 yards being that low, that's just weird.
Yeah, you're either really shoving hard on the gun, which visually changing from a dot to the iron sights and the signal that goes to your brain of when they're aligned, so press the trigger. That can kind of throw people off,
It
but
could, but I actually so I thought that too. I actually thought that because I don't generally like to zero on a bag or something like that. It's always just weird. But in this case, it was so bad that I was like, okay. And so I drug my shooting bag over, and then I piled a bunch of stuff on it to get it nice and secure. And then I shot it from there. Had the same group size as before, all in the same exact low. And so I'm like, okay, it's just got to be the sights because previous to that, I had my standard sights and they were great. I had no issues I just didn't have any issues. They were just fine.
yeah.
And so they were very point of aim, point of impact, and the CZ being the PO7 being a hammer fired gun, it's just going to be it's accurate. And so I don't know. I've got all the information written down, so I was gonna call up Dawson and just and pick their brain a little bit. And I'm sure they'll make it right. Dawson's always made it right, but
Yep.
I don't know.
What's the answer? Leave the front sight on, buy the shadow adjustable rear sight, put it on the PO7.
There you go. There you go. That's always a solution. Put an adjustable rear sight on a carry gun.
Yeah, well, they're all adjustable nowadays. So,
Yeah, it's called a red dot.
it's a red dot.
No, I don't know. I That's the thing, dude. It's like I there's a part of me that just there's a part of me that just wants to hand this thing to Josh and give him this what is this thing this EPS it's the 407 I don't know what the hell you call it, EPS, whatever, the little enclosed emitter
the
jobber.
EPS, yeah.
Yeah, and I kind of want to just hand this to him and just tell him, hey, just go cut this thing into it and be done with it, because I mean it's a great freaking optic.
Yeah.
It works really really well. I love it, and then I'll just be done with it.
Yeah, I have been having a lot of fun going back to iron sights and looking at iron sights and shooting iron sights. Like
Yeah, no, I
it was fun.
agree.
Taking like 147 grain bullets. I knew that worked, and then like shooting them off a rest, and then shooting them freestyle, and then like going back at 25 yards and seeing like two nicely stacked shots of three. Like I'm just like, okay, like I can do this. This is good. I know how to do this. Like it's
Yeah,
been it's not as useful as a skill as it used to be, but like I still like having that skill, and I kind of want to like I would like to make my GM card in production, and then take
I
that to
think
the
I mean
carry optics.
if you, I mean if you ask Andy, I mean he's like you don't need an optic for anything 3 yards and in for a carry gun, and he's got a pretty good point. There's a lot of validity to it. I mean I'm not advocating for point shooting, but at the same time, um, at those close to distances, yeah, you're generally point shooting, especially like at our level. Most people are just pulling the gun out. Even Paige, right? She'd pull that 380 out, and she'd clack off 10 rounds, and then call the cops.
Yeah.
And they're like, what were you aiming at? I don't know, center of mass.
Well,
I kept shooting until the problem stopped.
just because my eyes aren't behind the sighting system doesn't mean it's not aimed fire.
Yeah, yeah. There you go.
I
Right.
just know how much of a sight picture I need for certain shots.
Yeah. No, a lot of truth in that. Right. Totally makes sense. But like I took my 9A4 Beretta out, and I shot that, and I agree. I mean there is something to be said for, I mean, knowing how to correctly use a set of iron sights. I mean it's the same thing, it's the same argument as like me saying there is something to be said about knowing how to ride a horse. Am I ever going to need to? Probably not, but damn it, I sure know how to use it if I do.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of guns still out there in the world that don't have dots on them. And there is a lot of
Yeah,
guns
but
in the world that the dots are not properly installed on them either. I mean, or
but to be
properly zeroed.
fair, okay, the all the guns that have that don't have dots on them are run by people who are now wearing readers, and
Yeah.
they're watching Matlock. I mean, it's like nobody's running these guns anymore. I mean, you got Alex out there. He's like, I bought a new 32 HR whatever revolver, and I'm like, why? And he's like, because I watched Matlock.
And then he also has nothing but Glocks with dots on them. So like
Yeah,
there's the both worlds.
it's the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde kind of thing.
Yeah. So and then
But
you made a quite important sell this week.
I did, dude. So it's a couple. I think it was last month or something like that. My buddy sends me this message. He's like, "Hey, do you still got that AO1?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Yeah, I got somebody who really wants one." I'm like, He's like, "Do you want to sell it?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And then it kind of just stuck around. It just left it. And 2 weeks ago, I saw him at the range, and he's like, "Do you really want to sell this thing?" And I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, yeah, I'd sell it." He's like, "Oh, how much do you want for it?" I'm like, "How much should I ask for it?" And he says, "Well, what about two?" And I'm like, "Well, what about 22?" And he says, "I'll send him a message." So I get a message from this guy, and he's like, "Hey, I'll buy that." And I'm like, so now I'm sitting here playing this game of like, okay, do I really want to sell this AO1? And I was just like, I don't actually shoot this gun. I bought it, and it was a great deal, killer deal, hell of a deal. John, my buddy, totally hooked me up on it, and I'll always be forever grateful for that. But I kind of came to the realization, it's like I don't really want this gun, and so I sent a message back. I'm like, you know what, give me 2,100 for it, and we'll make it happen. So Saturday, I packaged everything up and sold it. So now I'm sitting on a little bit of cash that I need to figure out something to do with.
Two more CZs. CZ 75 shadows. I would say like
If I could, I mean, if I could find, like, so I actually was telling Andrew this, if I could find another AccuShadow 2 like that I have right now, um, I would probably buy that and I'd sell my other shadows. In fact, if I really wanted to, I could sell all my other shadows and then just have the Accu Shadow too. I really like the one that I got. I think it's just a great gun and it's perfect, everything out of the box. But Andrea's like, well, yeah, you could, but you already have guns that are turned into Accu Shadows in terms of how they run. I'm like, yeah, that's a good point. So why buy another gun?
Yeah, there's that argument with it, but there's always plenty of guns. There's always a plenty of guns that you should like, but that you don't like. Like there's models in 92s. They might as
Yeah.
well be single action armies to me. Like I see some of those and I'm just like, I don't want a single action. Like the 92 XIs or the Squalls or whatever they have, or like you see those in a gun case and I'm just like, that has nothing to do with whatever I like. So I just kind of put those away. But as far as like having the, what would you say, the your favorite gun again, like where you just kind of like buy your favorite gun again, and then it's supposed to be
Yeah.
something you're supposed to have more, or it's gonna make you feel better. It's like, yeah, maybe,
Yeah.
maybe not.
I don't know. I mean, every time I have my main Shadow too. I have a backup, and then I have the Accu Shadow, and then I have another one and another one. And if I'm honest about it, the two other ones I bought because I had other Shadow 2s, not because I needed them. I certainly don't need them. Functionally, you really only need one. Two is just icing on the cake.
Yeah,
I mean, three was something cool, and by the time you get beyond that, you're just like, I'm just there's no point in it.
you're just stacking on and collecting things like
Yeah,
this
yeah, that's exactly it.
this Mark 23. This is my dream pistol. I always wanted one. I bought one last year.
Mhm.
I'll never own two. Like I don't shoot
Right.
this thing enough. I don't need to have two. It's like I have the one, and that's fun enough for me, and I'm happy to have just that. But when you get into this idea of like, oh, I'll just keep collecting because I have the money, and I'll collect for collecting's sake, it's like okay, but it's kind of better to have a few different things to sit there and try out. Like
Yeah, the problem when you do that, you scratch an itch that can never like be satiated.
yeah,
Because I mean, if you're collecting to just to do it, and at some point there, here I know this. I know I was talking to a handful of people over the course of last year, and they all had a very similar story where they said, you know, when I first got into shooting USPSA, I was buying guns left, right, and center, and I was just buying everything under the sun. And um, but now that I've been shooting it for a couple, 2, 3 years, I care less about those guns, and I care more about this sport. And I shoot this sport, and that's what I like. I'm not really a gun guy per se. It's just I'm shooting this sport, and the gun is required to shoot it, and to play the game.
yep,
And it's been funny to see a lot of people because even I went through that to some extent. It's like I mean, I remember when I first really kind of started getting into guns. I mean, I was buying a gun like every single month. And eventually people were like, "Well, how many guns you got?" I'm like, "I don't know. I just bought another safe." But and at a certain point I'm just like, I bought all these guns with this idea that I would use them, and they've been sitting here for the past 3 years. I
yeah.
have
Like
guns that are worth like thousands of dollars that are sitting in that safe
you're never gonna shoot them
that
out.
I'll never shoot them.
Yeah,
Ever.
yeah. You're never every gun that you get. You're like, oh, I'm gonna get this, and I'll go compete with it, and I'll put 30,000 rounds through it, and then it's just like, nope, that never happened. Like you
Yeah.
got a bunch of guns with like 3,000 rounds on them.
Mhm.
So,
Yes, one of the guys like, how many rounds do you have on that gun?" And there was so few rounds on that gun, I could actually tell him, like, to the number how many I had on it.
yeah, yeah. That's
It's just like, yeah, it's it's just what it is. But
yeah.
it was
Well,
cool though. No, the other thing I did that was interesting. So I had that MP5K, and so I took it out, and it wasn't resetting to try and go into super safe. And so I got some people were like, "You just need to go shoot it. You need to go break the gun in." So I took it over. It was like Wednesday night. Went and took all of my MP5 magazines, and so not all of them because it wasn't all of them, but for sure. But I ended up taking about 300 rounds. I basically loaded up every magazine I could find, and I just took it out to the armory and I went into the private booth and loaded one up. I mean, just super safe FRT to all the way out of that one. Put the next one in, and like 300 rounds later, the gun is like almost. It's like so close. It's almost running full auto.
Almost broken.
Yeah, it's almost broken. So the nice thing is I've had all this like just random loading ammo that I've just had in 5 gallon or 50 gallon tins or whatever kind of thing. And so I'm like, I'll just load all this up. So you're firing it, and even in full auto, you can hear when that bullet goes from 115 to a 147 because it's like pop, 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 pop.
The cycle rate changes.
It was the funniest thing, but
The thing that you never
that
have to
gun,
worry about, like on semi-automatic, is really noticing the cycle rate changes. But on full auto, you can just feel it just chug
yeah,
along and then
yeah.
pop up. Yeah.
The crazy thing is you can actually feel how much faster that thing unloads than a full size MP5. I mean, it is a noticeable difference. It is
Yeah.
fast.
Yep. Shorter. It's a much shorter system. Like
Oh yeah.
when you go down to the short systems, like you get considerably different times in which it works. It's like Uzi, the full size Uzi. It shoot like 700
Yes.
rounds a minute, and then you got down to like the mini Uzi and the micro Uzi. And then all of a sudden you're just like, holy crap, we're at 1100, 1300, and that doesn't even.
What is it, the scorpion or whatever that thing is that just streams a line out?
Well, and then you get into the world of like which was machine pistols, like the Glock 18 and the VP70. Like the VP70 on its 3 round burst from not even a delayed, from a just a straight blowback pistol was
Hmm.
2200 rounds per minute. You would have 3 shots that basically sounded like one shot.
Dude.
Yep.
Dude.
6 pulls of the trigger just out. Like, go watch it if anybody ever wants to see something crazy. Watch a VP70M burst fire video, and you'll just see a gun that just goes brap, bap, bap, and it like
Wow.
shoots him everywhere, and
Yeah.
but it just sounds like one thunderous kind of shot. So
You know the gun that I would like to find someday. I'd like to build a full auto, um, just to have, is one of the Stens. I had
yeah,
an opportunity a long time ago to buy a kit that I could have built. I'm sure it would have been a single shot, but I could have bought that. And I always regretted not picking that up. It was like the first Red October match they had down in St. George, and there was somebody that was selling these kits. I liked. I've got to shoot a Sten once, and it was only 10 rounds, but it was actually down at that match. But it was cool. I
yeah.
mean, it's just kind of it's not the most accurate gun in the world, but it was just a cool piece of just fun history that they made this gun out of basically just pipes and crap that you find at the
No,
Home
yeah,
Depot.
yeah. No, they're super interesting, and they work. They
Yeah.
work. They absolutely do work. So that's awesome. If you want some place to hold your Sten magazines, head on over to Dominate Defense. Use promo code PARA10. Save 10% off your order, and then go buy your Sten pouches from whatever godforsaken website you visit. Also, it's the best race belt in the industry. American Operator Gear, Dominate Defense. Best race belt in the industry from Dominate Defense, and concealed carry, and duty gear from American Operator Gear. Use promo code PARA10 on both of those. Save 10% off your order. Also, check out Rune Tactical +1 magazine extension follower kit. So, sorry, follower and springs to go in your magazine extension. Get you that 23rd, 24th, or possibly even 25th round, depending on what kind of system you're running. Use promo code PARA10, save 10% off your order, and check out W74 Guide Rods, where you can get a tungsten guide rod like this Beretta 92. Springs also there, weighted batteries to balance out the pistol in a way that you see fit. Use promo code PARA10 and save 10% off your order. Telegram. It's a place where you can ask us questions. We'll do our best to answer it. And don't ask me for reloading advice this week.
If you could build your dream no budget limit USPSA race gun for 2026, what would it look like?
What would yours, Robert? It's not going to be an AO1.
It's not gonna be an AO1. Um, I there's a part of me that so I like the 2011s. I think 2011's a great gun. Now, and we're making the assumption that it's not going to be a Shadow 2 because that's an easy thing just to say it's a Shadow 2.
Yep.
But if I could build, I could have a gun. I would actually look really hard at the DWX just because I like that they use the same grip as the Shadow 2. And I've talked to enough people, and it's not the most expensive gun in the world. It's certainly not like, budget or anything like that. But I actually happen to like what they did there. It's a pleasant shooting gun. Uh, I would do that, and I'd put an SRO on it because it's not the best optic in the world, but damn it if it doesn't just keep working. And that's an easy lift. I mean, why would you not go that way?
Yeah, I think for me, if I sat there and I said, "Hey, I was going to compete in like carry optics or production, and I was going to want the absolute 100% like perfect dream gun," for me, like that would be kind of a hard take. Like I'm kind of having that issue when I'm thinking about carry optics. Like I have Glock 17 Gen 5 or whatever like that with a Holosun 507 comp on it. And the Glocks kind of bug my arms a little bit, and not my favorite. I don't get a lot of inspiration shooting them, but like they function and they work well. But generally, like all the guns that I'm interested in, Beretta 92s, HK products, stuff like that, um, they're hammer fired guns, PX4 stuff like that. They're not very conducive to being dotted, and so
Yeah,
they're kind of old tech, and they're very expensive to have dotted, and then when they do get dotted, they generally get like aluminum plates, and it's not like, I'm not going to say like a jerry rig solution, but it's not as good of a solution that comes out now from like modern factories. Like I was sitting there looking at, well, what solution would there be if I decided to grab a gun and move on into carry optics? And it's just like, well, there's nothing really in the hammer fired market for that kind of thing. Like you can have your Shadow 2 or something like that. But like on the polymer side, then you're like, P10, new Glock footprint, Echelon or something like that. And those are the kind of guns that basically have that stuff sorted out. I'm not too big on having a 2011 or something like that. Um, so I kind of don't even know right now. Like if a 92X performance had a slightly different frame and a slide mounted safety, I would be all about that. But that's not what those guns come out as. Maybe the new LTT pistol and go from there.
I dude, that Elite looks cool. It does. I mean, actually, here's the thing. When you rack the slide on a Beretta, do you go over the top or do you come from underneath? Because a Beretta to me is always an underneath uh, gun.
It kind of depends on what you're doing. So you can come underneath and then get the nose of the gun, the shapes of the gun,
Yeah,
and you could rack it. Normal times, if I come over the top and I turn it, I'll rack it off the nose. But like it depends on what you're doing. Like if you have to like charge the gun, like you can grab it behind the ears so you don't turn on the safety and rack it like that. And then for like press checks and stuff like that, especially if you have like an F model, you can come with your bunny ears and then put your thumb on the back of the beaver tail, and then you just pinch to look to see the condition of the gun, and then let go, and then you
yeah.
remove the safety. Like there's a bunch of different ways to operating the Beretta, but generally, if I have to sit there, pick it up, and charge it, I'm gonna over the top, clamp it from the top, and then rack it back.
Yeah, I've always come. I mean, that gun, it lends itself to coming underneath. The only time it doesn't work is if you have a TLR1. I know this is a 2011, but if you have a TLR1 or something like that, there's just not enough space to get your fingers up in to do it.
Yeah,
And what I found is that in that situation, um, if I have an optic on it, I just use the optic to do it. Otherwise, I do the full over the top racket that way because this always works. Every single
yeah,
time, this will always work in every situation. It's always going to work.
yeah. It's just a little bit harder with the Beretta's manual safety if
Yeah,
you have
but
one on top. The
but with the new because like the G decocker is what it is, but they changed the angle on the 9A4 so that the
10 degree up.
safety was just a little bit higher, and because they said that by doing just that that little bit, when people would try to manipulate the slide by coming back, that upward of that little bit angle increase meant they weren't decocking or safetying
Yeah.
the gun.
And the one thing about that new Langdon LTT Elite 2, it looks like they took the failed cocking serrations off of the APX, because they had the
Hmm.
APX cocking serrations, which were very deep, just a few of them very deep. And then they got rid of those when they made the APX A1, and it seems like they found their way onto the 92. So
Right.
it'll be
The
interesting.
did you that video you sent where Ernest was talking about the history of the 92 and Langdon and everything like that was super interesting. I love hearing him talk about that, but he made a point of mentioning like the Brigadier. Um, that really isn't necessary anymore because it was the whole point of that 94 or whatever and the Brigadier was to be able to take care of the 40 Smith and Wesson, I think, is what I
Yeah,
remember
prevent
hearing say.
prevent crack slides and cracked frames. Like, it's just the section of the gun right there around the
Yeah,
locking
it's
box.
just a little bit
It's
chunkier.
it's beefed up. It's a little bit wider. You can get a front sight on them. I like them because, like, in iron sights, they shoot softer. Like,
Sure.
it's a much slower reciprocation of the gun in the Brigadier. Like, I shot my Wilson Combat, which was a Brigadier slide, and that one's very soft, very slow, kind of moving slide. And it's the same thing like this Brigadier model. It has a very, very nice, appreciable um, iron sight shooting kind of slides reciprocation. And they're
Well,
just,
that and the Beretta was always nice anyway because when you fire it, it doesn't. It has this weird kind of like that. I don't know how to describe it. It's like this like wavy kind of
yeah,
uh cycle.
for a gun that's pretty much a straight blowback, it's a very, very soft shooting gun.
Yeah,
It feels very, very soft, but it has like a very fast unlock time. So it's a different feeling all the way around, but very
for sure.
reliable.
What's the most ridiculous stage malfunction you've ever had or seen in a USPSA match?
That I've ever had, I don't think it was at a USPSA match. I remember having an M&P Pro 5-inch, which I just had. It, the gun plagued me more than I would like. I had an IDPA state championship where I had a drop turner, a double drop turner, where the gun decided to go click and not go bang, and I was down 10 seconds on a single stage, just because the gun didn't go. I changed barrels on that thing to get the accuracy up, and then it just decided that it wasn't gonna like anything that wasn't like a 124 round nose full metal jacket, and bullets would get stuck kind of in the rifling, and they weren't even that long. They were like 1.10. So I've had definitely those kind of frustrating malfunctions. The most frustrating malfunctions that you ever really see, though, is the squib. The squib is always the worst malfunction because it just
Hmm.
eats the rest of the stage and possibly the match. Those are pretty rough. But I've never seen anything that's like, well, we used to have the exploding PCC magazines and the exploding magazines. Those are bad malfunctions, but the squib always takes the cake.
I remember we were shooting. It was a state match. This is an IDPA match out at the farm. I cannot remember who the section coordinator, area coordinator was at the time, but we were shooting his staff the day before and everything like that. And timer goes off, and he was shooting this Glock 21 in CDP, and he takes the first shot, takes the second shot, and then all of a sudden the bottom of his gun just explodes. And all you see is like the base plate goes shooting off, a spring hits the ground and like bounces up there, and there's a shower of 45 ACP bullets just dropping to the ground. And I remember being so shocked I didn't even know what to do. But we're sitting there looking at him, and he's looking at the bottom of the gun. The base plate had just come completely
Yeah,
off of the
yeah.
gun, you know, and it's like, how do you even? So I think I can't remember who the RO was, but he's just like stop, and he got a reshoot and everything like that because I think we just didn't even know what to do, but and then trying to fish out the body of that Glock mag out of the thing.
Oh yeah,
It's
because
like okay, that
yeah, there's no weight in it. It's just hugging the sides of the magazine well.
yeah, it wasn't it wouldn't come out or nothing. I can't remember what they did. I think they got a pair of needle nose and, pressed the magazine release and they were able just to yank it out like that. But yeah, that was funny. There was one time I was at a USPSA match and my buddy was there and he was having accuracy issues. So he goes over to the safety area and because he's gonna fix it. And he got Loctite on his hands, and so he comes walking out of the safety area
Shut up.
and he's like, do you have a rag? And I'm like, looking at him like, uh, Tom, what's in your hands?
Yeah,
He looks down. Where's the gun? Well, shit, I'm done.
here's some more Gen 1 M&P nonsense that was with that gun is all of a sudden like I was having like I had to adjust the sight or something like that, and so I took off the sight set screw and then I put a little Loctite in there and then I closed it up, and the Loctite kind of spilled everywhere. I was like, gosh dang it! So I kind of just not even thinking. I'm just holding the gun as I walk out of the safe area to dab it with the rag to get it down, and then it's realized, oh, I just took the gun out of the safe area. But that wasn't even the worst part after the DQ. The worst part is on the DQ is I start going home and I'm like pulling the trigger on the pistol and the trigger will not move, but when I pull it, the slide kind of moves slightly back, but it won't release. And the M&P had its firing pin block under the rear sight. And so what happened was Loctite went down in that set screw channel, went down into the firing pin block area,
Wow.
locked up the entire back part of the gun, and so that the gun could not fire. It like people have that issue now with Glocks and MOSs and extractors, like they glue up their extractor by putting too much Loctite in, and Glock fixed that on the Gen 6. But yeah, you'd run into that problem with the M&P as well. It just would.
That's,
I
well, I mean,
I
I've never understood why they did that. Why would you put that underneath the sight?
because you're
I
because you're
mean that
it's in the right position. You're already going to cut the dovetail, and so now all you have to do is just
save some money.
yeah, you're essentially saving some money, I guess, by cutting a dovetail and then putting the hole. And then when people are putting the guns together, like it's just like, all right, well, we put the cap on and then we slide the rear side on, and we screw it down. It's just, I don't
Well,
know.
now Smith Wesson's got that. They just came out with that metal gun, which is only a few ounces heavier than the aluminum apparently, and
What?
so it's like, is that worth buying?
Yeah, and then they did the thing where they brought it out with a threaded barrel and a comp.
Yeah, because
Like
that's
that,
what people want.
they don't know what market they're playing in. Don't trust them with that. The bodyguard, great. The carry size M&Ps, fine. The competition, I don't know. I
Well,
don't know.
that's the thing that doesn't make any damn sense. They've got Hunter Constantine. That dude will tell him what to do. I mean, worst come to worst, he'll just copy it and like, use it as his own.
But the yeah, maybe sue somebody. Uh,
Maybe sue somebody.
the thing is with that gun, it's like they just went with like, oh, metal frames are cool. You know what's also big in sales? Compensators. We'll
Hmm.
do that, and it's just like, no, we want the metal frame for competition. But I guess most people who are buying the kind of competition S guns aren't even shooting them in competition. Anyways,
If USPSA suddenly added a wild card division where anything goes, lasers, laser pointers, full auto, whatever, what ridiculous setup would you bring?
what ridiculous setup would I bring? Lasers are very distracting to shoot with.
Yep.
I wouldn't do that. I remember what was it with PCC for a while? They would all put lasers on the front of their guns, so when they had to start at
Hmm.
low port, they could make the first shot with the laser, and then like
Yeah.
bring it up or something like that. And it was the most ridiculous thing.
Well,
Um,
and the dumb thing about it was all the people who did that were inevitably the guys who were like 100 years old and would proceed to then go on and bomb the entire stage.
yeah,
But
but
check out that wicked first split.
that laser is on it. I'm not sure if everything was legal. What would basically go on? Big stick magazine, but you don't even really need that more because the magazine capacity is already too big. And like what, like a ramjet, like some sort of compensator on the front of the gun. Burst fire. D-
I've
d-
got I've got a I've got an FRT MP5. I guarantee you
d-
that bad boy's coming
yeah,
out.
that double tap burst fire. Yeah, that wouldn't be too bad.
Yeah,
Multi
that'd be. I mean,
snake shot.
I just need that.
If you allow me to use
Yes.
snake shot, I'll use snake shot.
God, that'd actually be fun. Bring the Magpul, the D50. Yeah. Okay, we do this all right. Okay, Magpul D50, and then the FRT, and then we shoot the stage with the MP5.
Yeah, I need a Beretta 93R with the big trigger guard and then the cocking thing right there, and then the stock, and then I'll just
Yeah.
that's what I'll
See
do.
that's what it is, right? Everybody wants the full auto division. So we need USPSA. Stop doing this gay limited optics thing. Full auto division. That's what the public wants. We need a full auto division.
If not that, then like suppressors are legal. We need a suppressed division.
I think you should suppress division. It could be the full auto suppress division.
Yeah, the actual tactical division.
Yeah, I mean that's the way the world's going, and we all know, as everybody will tell you in USPSA, the market is going that way. So USPSA needs to make a division.
Yep,
That's how this
that's
works.
how we do it.
That's how it works. With Shot Show kicking off soon, all the new gear drops. What's the one piece you want to see?
I think I'm happy with the Beretta and the 407 comp. I think those are. I would like to see an optics ready P30 from the factory, from the HK factory.
You think they'd even do it? I mean,
I don't.
are they
I
that
don't think.
tone deaf to what people want?
I think HK just makes stuff for contracts, and
Mm,
if a contract gets them 80% of the way there, they're happy to do something else. Like add a little bit or make an extra longer barrel or something like that. But if the contract's not going to get them 80% there, then they see the P30 and the USP as just guns that make them money, but not as guns they want to invest money in.
yeah. I don't know if they're gonna make it. I don't know if it's gonna happen, but I really want to see Trichicon come out with a larger dot. I just want that. If that doesn't work, um, I'm certainly interested in looking at Hollow Sun's 6 MOA. I'd like to see how much bigger that new one actually is,
Yeah.
because at a certain point, it's like this is Siley Bull kind of um, too much.
Well, the Siley pull is gigantic, and I still probably is the king, but it still just has a 2 MOA dot. So
Yeah.
they didn't even get that right.
Well, and that's the weird thing, is because like people are just they get so behind their preferred dot size. We all do, right? Like, no, the 5 MOA is the way to go. And like Rory's like, no, I like the 2 MOA. I've tried different ones, and he prefers the two. And nobody's right and nobody's wrong, but um, I don't know.
Yeah, I would say what you're going to see from SHOT Show this year is you're going to see nothing in the middle of the both ends. You're going to see Gucci 22s, and then you're going to see cheaper pistols like that FN 309 or whatever. You're
Yeah.
going to see budget and bougie, but very little in the middle.
Well, I need to find something that's decent so I can blow $2,100 on, because apparently that's a thing now.
You get a
So,
Mark 23.
how much is a Mark 23?
Yeah, like 17.
That's something. That's a big old boy. Does it come with the BNT?
I don't think that deal's still going on with the B&T can, but you can possibly find that for about $3,000.
Well, actually, you know what? I do have the Silencer Co. the Octane 45, so
There you go.
that's not a bad way to go.
Just thread it on. You have to buy your special hub for it because the Mark 23 has a right hand, so it's
Ugh.
it's a little different.
See, that's the thing, man. The Germans did some really great things. I was really proud of a lot of their advancements, but then they go and they just do the dumbest shit, and
They
you're like,
on the
why
other
would you do this?
on the other guns it has a good left hand thread pitch. On the Mark 23 it's the one that has the right hand. Who knows? It's probably some SOCOM requirement when they did it, but yep.
Yeah, maybe. All right, there you go.
All right, well, thanks for downloading, thanks for listening and subscribing. We appreciate it. Make sure to spend all your money on optics that are slightly newer than the optics you had, pistols that are slightly newer than the pistols you just had, and constantly tell yourself that it's going to make you better. And for Robert Wyatt, I'm Tom Nelson, bidding you peace, love, and soul as we depart into the open waters of the sea of life on a little tugboat we like to call the PARAcast.
Good night, everybody.